This evening we're looking at fog as it envelops Disko Bay. This fog is a result of warm air. This is the panorama at the moment. A couple of hours ago we were enveloped in this fog. Right now we are looking out at Disko Island, and it's 11 o'clock Eastern Daylight Time. The temperature is in the upper 40s at the moment. The glacier, which was visible in the background, is disappeared once again. It is a huge glacier. Everything changes here moment by moment. This is all we can see of a gigantic glacier that's down in the valley that dumps millions of tons into the ocean every day, as block-sized chunks of ice, compressed snow, separate from it all the time. And once again, here is a view of the coast to the north of where I am standing. Disko Island, the largest island off of Greenland, is here. Moving back south from Disko Bay, these are the high points of ice, and I'm standing at about 800 feet above sea level, and you can tell they are extremely high. These are floating chunks of ice out in the bay that have broken off from the glacier that's just to my left. You can imagine how huge these chunks of compressed snow from the glacier must be. Icebergs now. This is a burrowing, brilliant red little that consumes all kinds of things in the water. Here is a small example of one. What is also very common right now are, I believe, a species of decapod maybe. They are an important source of food for some of the seals. They range in size. I've seen half an inch to a little over an inch, inch and a quarter. Around the edge of this harbor of Jakobshavn or Ilulissat is gneissic metamorphic rock, combination of biotite, gneiss, and the pink would be feldspar, and then quartzite. This entire area has rocks with this type of pattern in them, all sorts of variations. The harbor is filled with icebergs, all different sizes. And in and out of the harbor, each boat has to be able to maneuver quickly to avoid being crushed by icebergs. And that's why the fishing boats have very large rudders and can turn on a dime. There are icebergs of all sizes here, and some are huge. There's a very tall one in the background. These are boats going and coming in the harbor. And far out there is an especially large iceberg. In the foreground are a bunch of pumars that are working over the area. I think there's a bloom of theropods there that they are gobbling up. There's some reason why they're in that area. From here, far off in the distance, to the west is Disko Island in the haze. Disko is a craggy island. So everybody has to be able to negotiate running among these icebergs if you're going to be on the water. This is the glacier area where these gigantic icebergs come from. You can see they're monstrous in size. If you look closely, you can see way up there a ship, probably about 50 feet long, and in the foreground are birds working over the water. I'm standing at 100 meters above sea level, and I'm giving you a panoramic shot this evening because finally the fog has lifted. And this is the icefjord at Ilulissat, which provides many icebergs to the Atlantic Ocean. It's 8:30 in the evening. This is Disko Island in the background. And this is what's floating around in the harbor off of ilulissat in Greenland. This is some exquisite area which is available for kayak paddling. And the weather has been very somber the last few days. Very low wind. Nothing to write home about, which is ideal in these cold waters. And to the south is a little example of some virga. This is some ice which is submerged in a couple of feet of water, with the morning light shining through it. We've had some interesting visual effects that I thought I might capture. You can see the effects of melting. Occasionally bubbles of air come up. It has a prismatic effect. Peering into a little crevasse in the rocks, freshwater creatures are abundant. These appear to be a member of the crustacea family. Here are some grasses. These little organisms are a great source of food for other organisms in the Arctic. Each of these is about a half an inch long, so they're quite large. Here is an area where someone may have lived, and what shows that is the fact that it's got this rock protection around it, and there is a large amount of grass growing there. Looking down this valley, they are piled on top of each other and sometimes wedged together, which is something that a glacier would not do to boulders. These piles of rock are caches for meat, graves, and among them are were lines which were probably supporting the walls of structures. This was a village at some time in the past. Just south of Ilulissat. This is an area that is famous for having many early areas of habitation, going back to some of the earliest known remains. These mounds I'm standing on could be the remains of ancient sod houses. Here are two more items that are definitely a product of human agency. Here is a mound, which is most likely a sod house that has fallen in. Here are rocks obviously placed by human agency, either for burying or caching meat. The roof of a sod house is made with slabs of rock such as these, which are cantilevered and counterbalanced on the ends in such a way that they form a shallow sloping dome. Earlier settlements are farther above sea level than newer ones, because in ancient times the sea level was 114 meters higher than it is right now. And so you can see it's quite a ways down to the water from here.
Hello, this is GEFerris. I recorded this video footage in 1992 during my first trip in Greenland, and this was my first experience of camping out. This is on the edge of Disko Bay off of ilulissat. All kinds of fascinating views were available, such as the one in this picture of a fishing boat going among the icebergs that are coming down the icefjord. Was an incredible experience. Thank you.